Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Now, in one of my previous videos, we tested out the 6700 XT graphics card versus the 6900 XT graphics card in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and then I found out that I was getting bottlenecked with the 6900 XT with the CPU. Now, I was running a 3800 XT, a Ryzen 7 3800 XT CPU, and that is a reasonably powerful CPU. However, I decided a 5900, which is one of the most powerful gaming CPUs you can get right now at the time of filming, into the computer just to see how bottlenecked I was. How CPU intensive is ACC? Let's find out. Alright, here we are in ACC, and for testing today we are running an Asus B550 Strix board, and for the RAM we're running 32 gigs of 3200 megahertz memory, and for the GPU we're running a 6900 XT. So that shouldn't be bottlenecking us at all here. So let's test out the CPUs. So just like last time, we're running at Bathurst with 10 AI, and I'm in the BMW just to keep it all pretty comparable from the last time I did the 6700 XT to the 6900 XT video. So let's get into the results and see how much has changed between the 3800 XT and the 5900X. So first up, triple 1080 in the high setting, and the 3800 XT did an average of 121.6, and the 5900X did an average of 138.5. So quite a reasonable jump here, especially considering we are running triple 1080, which is close to kind of the 4K kind of region in load on the GPU. So normally things aren't too CPU bound at this kind of resolution, but as you can see, this game it is. And the 3800 XT was really kind of bottlenecking the performance here, and yeah, the 5900X just managed to pick up another nearly 20 FPS, and over 100 FPS minimums here. And unlike last time, so switching to the same settings but with the FSR with ultra quality, now the 3800 XT, it didn't see any increase at all in FPS. But again, with the 5900X, we're seeing some good gains here. In just the high settings, 122.7 average to 161 FPS average for the 5900X. As I said, like before the 3800 XT, it was same. Even when I went FSR ultra quality, we got the same FPS, but the 5900X jumped another 20, well, a bit over 20 FPS here with FSR ultra quality. And switching to the epic setting, the epic setting was 110 FPS on the 3800 XT, and weirdly enough, it was 110 on the 5900X as well, which was kind of weird. Same results here in the epic setting, and I don't know if that was some kind of fault when I did the 3800 XT testing. I did retest my testing when I did the 5900X. I did it twice and I got the same results. So yeah, I don't know why that is, but they were pretty much the same under these scenarios. But switching to FSR Ultra Quality, where the 3800 XT did pick up about 7 FPS, the 5900 picked up about 24 FPS here in the Ultra Quality setting. So we're back again to the 5900X, kicking some butt here on its slightly older processor. So that was a bit weird, but let's just for a second switch to single 1080 just to see what the results are here. And with single 1080 and epic settings, the 3800 XT averaged 158.4 and the 5900X averaged 177 FPS. Again, kicking a little butt here, probably not as much as I would have assumed it would in this scenario, but still good nonetheless. Now, VR, once again using the Quest 2 with using the VR high setting, with the Quest 2 set at 120 Hz, manually selecting 3200 by 1632 resolution to keep it all comparable. I didn't use the automatic setting for the Quest to use, and these results aren't great. As I was saying in the last video, for some reason it's capping me at 120 FPS here, but what you can see is the minimums. So with the 3800 XT, the minimum was about 82 FPS, and the minimum with the 5900X was about 20 more FPS than that, which is pretty much what we're seeing in some of the other categories here. The average is hard to kind of go off because it's capped at 120, but I would assume that it's about 20 more FPS on average if for some reason the cap wasn't capping out at 120, which I don't know why that is. But anyway, on to recording. Actually, I wanted to do some recording because I wanted to see how it would differ, because last time between both epic and high we saw the same FPS on the 3800 XT while recording. So with epic settings it was 101 FPS on the 3800 XT, and with the 5900X it was 104.6, so a little bit more minimums, a little bit more maximums, but it wasn't staggeringly different, at least in the epic settings, while recording on the CPU in X264. I believe it was fast. So the CPU was taking a bit of load here, and switching over to high, which technically should increase the FPS, the 3800 XT, as said before, did not increase in FPS. However, this time with the 5900X we got a little more juice here. We got an extra 25ish, nearly 30 FPS more on the 5900X. We are dealing with more cores, more threads here, so this CPU can do the gaming and recording a bit better here. I think this is, even though the Ryzen 7 CPU with the 3800 XT, it can do recording and gaming pretty well in most games. I'm finding in ACC, because it's pretty CPU intensive, especially with AI, that it does struggle a little more than usual. So yeah, the Ryzen 9, the 5900X, does do this better for the CPU intensive games that are really taking up some CPU. Yeah, I think recording in those kind of titles is more into the Ryzen 9 territory. Even though Ryzen 7 does it fine for most games, ACC is just unfortunately a bit too CPU intensive, and the graphics and everything. It's just a pretty intensive game for sim racing. So anyway, I think I'm pretty happy with my upgrade here. Even though some like is 161 FPS, and I don't need that. I don't need to use FSR at all here. I feel triple 1080 with 10 AI on high, getting about 140 FPS on average on my 144 Hertz monitors is about where I want it to be. So this is pretty much an ideal setup for me that I think I'm going to keep with for quite a while, and I don't think I'll be doing many upgrades from now on. And yeah. So anyway, there's the results, everybody. Hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next video.